heat, guys. You think this is highlighter? A little bit is, but it's also sweet. Hello, my dudes. Welcome back to me. Am I dying of the heat? Yes, I am. Is it the middle of November? Yes, it is. Am I only now doing my October wrap-up? Yes, I am. It's okay, we don't mind. So, October was a month. It was a spooky month. There were a bunch of cool readathons, which I didn't do any, because October month was like my exam month, you know. Gotta get the tests in, gotta get all the things in. November's already going way better. Like way better. So in October, I only read 7 books. Before you're like, but that's 7 books, that's decent. That's only like 1,243 pages. I wrote it down on this. Anyway, I guess we should start with the actual video now. So the first book I finished in October was Sadie by Courtney Summers, and I gave it 3 stars. So I've actually been reading this book since September. I was reading it since September and I only finished in October. I didn't find it as interesting, I would say, as I thought I would. I definitely thought it was a book that I'd give 5 stars to, based on what I know about the book, what I've heard about the book, and what I've heard people say about the book. I thought I would give it 5 stars and absolutely love it. I didn't really like it as much. I gave it 3 stars, which still means I like it. Even like, you know, if I give a book 3 stars, it still means I like the book. It's okay. I would recommend it. But it wasn't one of my favorite books that I've ever read. Sadie follows a girl called Sadie. Her sister is murdered and her sister is only 13 years old. And we follow Sadie's journey to kind of avenge her sister. So she wants to murder the man who killed her sister. And then we also follow this podcast who's following Sadie. So we get these 2 different perspectives. And the guy in charge of the podcast like interviews different people that Sadie's come across. Or these people have come across Sadie. So we get kind of a different outsider's perspective, and we also get a bit of history from Sadie that we get from her. It's not actually her biological grandmother, but we'll just call her her grandmother because she kind of takes up that role in Sadie's life. I think one of the reasons I didn't enjoy Sadie as much was because I couldn't connect to any of the characters. I am not a person who reads a book and necessarily needs to connect to one of the characters, but I just couldn't understand her character, or I didn't know who she was as a character. I didn't know anything about her. What are her hobbies? What does she want to do in life? I don't know anything about Sadie except for the fact that she really loves her sister. That is literally all we know about it. Even from Sadie does have a very traumatic childhood, and she's definitely suffering from PTSD, I think. So it is difficult. It would be a character that I cannot relate to. I wanted to feel with Sadie, you know. I wanted to go through the heartbreak she goes through. I wanted to cry, and I cry for everything, but I didn't, like, I never teared up during that book. I was like, oh, this is sad, but I didn't tear up. So it wasn't the 5-star book I was expecting it to be, but it was definitely still a very good book and one that I'd highly recommend. Obviously trigger warnings for pedophilia, and while it never occurs on page, you definitely know that there was some type of sexual assault that occurred. But yeah, I would definitely recommend Sadie if you are not sensitive to the trigger warning, to the triggers that I just mentioned. Then by all means, pick it up. Okay, the second book I read, it's kind of like with the second and the third book I read, they were just like, they're like picture books, you know. So the one was The Missing Bookshop by Katie Clapham, and the other one was Book Love. The other one was Book Love by Debbie Tang. So I didn't rate either of these books because they were just like picture books. And then I saw on the Goodreads nomination, Book Love is actually there. I think also under picture books or graphic novels, whichever one it's on. And I was like, okay, like it's like a decent 160 pages or something, but it's just comics. Book Love is just about comics about loving books. It's just comics about loving books and like scenarios that book lovers find themselves in, just all those cute things, and the illustrations are really pretty. Missing Bookshop is about a missing bookshop. It's this little girl. She goes to a bookshop all the time. She grows up in this bookshop. She loves reading, and she always just wants to find the books in the shop, and she knows the owner. She loves it. It's her happy place. And then one day it closes down, and she gets so concerned. So she writes little notes and puts it up on the wall, and it's a very cute story. And I think the illustrations once again in that one was also, they were just so beautiful. But I didn't read either of these books because I just didn't think, I didn't hate them or like them enough. I thought they were average enough to give them a rating. I also don't think, I just read them because they were there. They were like there, and I was like here, and I was like, okay, let me pick you up and let me read you. The next book I read was The Princess Saves Herself in This One by Amanda Lovelace. It's the first book in, I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy or what, but there's like the witch doesn't burn in this one, and the mermaid doesn't, I don't know, singing, I don't know what the other two are called. I haven't read them yet. I will probably read them. So I only read the first one. And a lot of the poems, it's a poetry collection. So it's, all these poems are they're about woman empowerment, I'd say, or overcoming certain things in your life and just, yeah, empowering yourself. Yes, girl. I thought I would like it, especially reading like the first few poems. It kind of, all the poems kind of just follow each other. You kind of, I would say it's not one of those poetry collections where you can read them sporadically throughout. I don't know if you should do that with poetry collections. I don't know how people organize their poetry in collections, but like, anyway, the first few poems have a lot to do with Harry Potter, like the first one or two or things, so you can tell the first, it's about loving reading and loving Harry Potter, and I was like, okay, I'm here for it. Obviously, hello, you see my necklace. So obviously I really liked the first few poems, and then it just kind of got worse for me, and I didn't like the poetry. There was definitely a time where I thought I just didn't like this type of poetry, but then I found a few that I was like, oh damn, I actually really like this one. Or I actually really like this. It's like Every Word You Cannot Say. I don't know who the author is right now. I'll maybe put up a picture. It's also a poetry collection. It's the same format as all of these ones. You know, the poems are rather short, but I really loved that one. I resonated with so many of the poems in it. I absolutely adored it. So obviously there are ones that I would really like, and then there are ones that I didn't like. This one I didn't like that. So therefore I only gave it 2 stars. I guess with this one, it was another thing of just expecting more from the book, especially because the first 2 or 3 that I read was so good. So I was like, you can't stop. Like, it started off on such a high note, and then just like, ooh, ooh, ooh. I was like, I don't want that. The next one I read, this again, I just picked it up. It was lying around, so I just picked it up, and it's called Die Oortjies van die Seekoei. Die Oortjies van die Seekoei, and it's by Cobus Galloway. So he's this South African artist, and he makes kind of like comics, and he'll take like literal sayings, or like he'll take sayings and draw them literally. So if you're like, I'm trying to think of something, you know, if people would say like, oh, between a rock and a hard place, you know, it's idiom, then he'll draw it. But that's like a bland explanation of what I'm trying to say. He does it with the like funny ones, you know. Sorry, I'm just thinking of some of the ones I've seen him do before. He has some really nice ones. He had a previous book, and I can't remember the name. So again, I'll just put a picture here. I can't remember the name of that one, but it's so funny. My brother has it. It's so funny, and he's a really good artist. So this collection, Die Oortjies van die Seekoei, he illustrates a bunch of idioms. So I think it'd be really interesting for like little children to learn idioms, or like younger children to learn idioms with. But again, his drawings are the star of the show, more than the idioms themselves, you know. So it's Afrikaans, by the way. Sorry, it's Afrikaans book. And Ideas vol Vrees. Sorry, I know I probably already put the picture up, but the book is called Ideas vol Vrees, or like he's very funny, okay? He draws really funny, okay? There's a one of like, what do you call your appendix? Okay, so for my fellow people, watchers who don't speak Afrikaans, your appendix in Afrikaans is called a blinde darm. And if you translate it directly, it's like a blind intestine. So it's like blind intestine, I guess. So then he'll draw like a blind piece of intestine just walking around there, you know? And it's funny. I send that to everyone when they get the appendix removed. I don't know if that's socially acceptable, but I do that. I should. I'm just gonna do it anyway. It's fine. I send it to my friends. The next one I read was Drama by Raina Telgemeier, and it was also a graphic novel, and it's about a school play. I gave it 3 stars because I thought it was really cute. The drawings were beautiful. The story was nice. The colors were just wonderful, and it was a cute book. Okay, it deals a lot with sexuality and coming out, and especially for younger children. What I didn't like about the book, maybe this is just me, is that the characters are all very young, like really young. They're like 13 or something, like 12, 13, and I'm like, these kids are so serious about their relationships, which was for me, which is weird because I'm like, I don't think I ever thought about any relationship when I was 12. Even when I was like 14, 15, 16, that's just me. So maybe that's normal for other people, but I found it a bit odd, so I was like, it's a little weird. And also, these kids are like 12, but they're putting up a school play, and they're building cannons and shit, and I'm like, you shouldn't even be legally allowed to light a match. Why are you building a cannon for the school play? So, I definitely think that just threw me, okay, because these characters act they're portrayed so much older than they are supposedly in the book. So I just think that just really threw it for me. That just, I was like, fun fact, not fun fact, actually it's a very terrible fact. I don't know why I said fun fact. It's not a fun fact at all. Last year, so 2018, this book was one of the most banned books in schools, along with books like The Hate You Give. And that's so weird. That's literally why I read it. I was honestly, genuinely, I think, shocked to actually see this one on that list, because I was like, it's a book about kids being in love. Like, okay, these kids are very young, they shouldn't be in love, but it was banned because of its portrayal of sexuality. If a young child is struggling with their own feelings and they want to know who they are, or they want to see themselves portrayed, even if they don't know that's what they want, you know, and it happens, it could really help children. And now you're taking that away from them. There are children in this world right now that need this book, and the fact that it's banned, what the F? It should not be banned. So by now, you know, October's been a terrible reading month for me, but it's fine. I'm not even thinking about reading because I've got so many assignments. I'm just going through the month and I'm like, wait, October is almost over and I still need to read a spooky book. So obviously, I pick up Rosemary's Baby by Era Levine. I don't know if it's pronounced Levine or Levine. Levine. I'm just saying the same thing over and over. Okay. This is probably the oldest book on this list. It's an old book. It was written, I think, in the 60s. A movie was made about it, and okay, I gave it 4 stars, which is a high rating. I think it's pretty high. It's not 5, it's 4. It is about this young couple. They move into a new apartment in New York, city of never sleeps. I don't know what city New York is, but it's a city. And they have some creepy ass neighbors. Their neighbors are hella creepy. And from the beginning, you're like, please avoid your neighbors. Do they listen? Obviously not. Okay, so they have a lot of creepy neighbors and things happen. I don't want to spoil the book for you, but yes, the lady, her name is Rosemary, and yes, she does get pregnant in this book. Before you listen further, I would also say, if you are going through a difficult pregnancy, or you've gone through a difficult pregnancy recently, or anything in that line, maybe don't read this book. There's like a cult in this book, so you know, if you're sensitive to cults, also don't read it. That's where the scary-ish comes in. Yeah, there are cults, there are demons, there's some disgusting food being eaten. There is disgusting food being eaten. But the scariest thing in this book is the fact that women are not believed. Period. Like, you know, it's an issue, you know, if women go to the doctor, they're like, this is happening to me, I'm sick, and the doctor's like, you're just sensitive. And like, people have actually died because of that, because doctors are like, it's fine, women are just dramatic or whatever. And like, that's a real world issue. And in this book, it's an issue in this book as well, because I don't know how much I can tell you without spoiling the book. So like, Rosemary gets pregnant, right? And her neighbors are just very involved, and obviously this freaks her out, but no one's listening to her when she's like, this is happening, or this is happening. They're all like, it's chill, bro, it's chill, you're just being dramatic, they just care about you, they're just helping you, they're just feeding you foodies. And that is the scariest thing about this book. There is one scene in this book that was pretty graphic and freaked me out. That scene thoroughly freaked me out. There's a demon involved. So that one scene really freaked me out. I mean, there's a demon. They describe his eyes. That was scary. So the book definitely scared me. I was very freaked out. I was also concerned about the real world issues in this book about women never being believed. Yeah. But also, okay, I didn't give it 5 stars because, first of all, it wasn't like I kind of saw the twist happening. It kind of didn't throw me. I don't even know if it's supposed to be a twist, but I could see where the story was going. I was just waiting for it to get there, you know, so I could see where it was going. And also, there's a lot of slurs in the book. Now, I know this is an older book, but I've read a lot of older books, and maybe not a lot. I've read a few, and they don't have slurs in it. It kind of takes you out of the story, like, did they just say that? There's a second one. I don't plan on reading it at all. I read the synopsis. I saw what it was about, and I was like, this seems so stupid. And then I'm not gonna read it. Like, I don't need, this book doesn't need a sequel. Okay, that is it from me. If you've read any of these books, let me know. And shout out to all the people who actually watch my videos and comment. I really like it when you comment. It's nice. Yeah, well, nice. It means a lot to me. Anyway, bye. Thank you. Bye.